So in this video, I'm going to go over some tips and tricks for the game host, which also includes tips and tricks for the players. So the first thing is, don't overcrowd the space and make things overly complicated. If you're going to reuse the space over and over, it's understandable that you're going to have extra props that are there just to set the scene. But in general, you want to limit the number of props because it will add more complexity, and players will think that the different props actually have clues when they don't, when they're just really there to set the scene. So don't overcrowd the space. Really try to only include things that they are going to use. Always have scrap paper and pens available for any escape room. It's very important that people can keep track of their thinking, and this will help them to organize information and see patterns. So scrap paper is very, very important. Always greet players with confidence and excitement, and if you are into like dressing up in costume, then do that as well. That will go a long way for setting the stage. I used to be a teacher and I would always dress up, and I'll be honest, I did get teased a lot for doing that, but it added so much excitement to the lesson. Even though I got teased, it actually increased engagement and it was a great experience. And plus, I just really liked dressing up. I've always loved Halloween. So if you're into that kind of thing, go the extra mile. Make sure you know your puzzles so well so that you can give good, effective clues. You don't want to just give the answer. That's no fun. Players want to feel like they have solved the problem. So you want to give them a hint that's going to guide them towards the answer without giving them the answer. And kind of along these same lines, it is best for you to go through the game beforehand, not only to familiarize yourself with the process of the game, but so you make sure you have everything set up. On many occasions when I'm creating escape rooms, I realize I have left out something that was in my mind. I thought I had built it as part of the escape room, but I had completely forgot to include it. And I didn't realize that until I was going through it, just kind of like the dry run through the escape room. And I was like, wait, they're going to need that clue. Where's the clue? Oh, I never created it. Another time, kids were actually playing the escape room and they kept asking for a hint, and I kept giving them a hint and it didn't make any sense to them. And I was actually getting really frustrated with them. And I kept saying, look at this paper. Make sure you go look at that paper. I had never included the paper. I had just forgot to include it. So the hint didn't make sense because the paper I was referring to was not even there. So don't let that happen to you. Do monitor and know when to give a hint. So players will not always ask for hints, but you need to know the early signs of giving up. The early signs are a player begins to look tired. They might cross their arms. They might lean on their hand. They might lay down. They're starting to become lethargic. You want to catch this as soon as possible. Get them a hint to get them moving along, because if they get to the point of giving up, there will be no remotivating them to continue on. So you want to intervene before they slip below that point of no return, because once they do, you know, the game has lost its value. I always read the initial storyline aloud because it is something that is commonly skipped over, because it doesn't usually contain clues that are directly needed for the puzzles. It really just kind of sets the stage and gets them kind of in the flow and the feeling of the escape room, and so they will skip over it. So I always read it aloud and then also include it as a prop. If you're creating one of your own escape rooms and you're not using one that I've made, you can embed clues in the storyline. But the thing about that is there will only be one or two players who focus on those clues and read it and get the whole storyline. That's why I read it aloud, to make sure everyone has heard it. I also go over rules and game areas and how to request hints. So for example, sometimes my rules are they can't go outside of a certain zone, or the rules are I don't want you taking any pictures off the walls. There's no hints there. So I try to think ahead of what they might do and things they might try to mess up as they look for clues, and I address those early on. I tell them where they can, where the boundaries of the game are, so they don't waste time going and looking in places where there's not any clues. And then I'll also go over how to request hints. So if you're going to limit the number of hints, or if you're going to give a penalty for asking for a hint, you want to make sure they know that ahead of time. Okay, so then that takes me to the next thing. So part of this explaining the rules is giving them their tips and tricks, which this is tips and tricks for the players. And by the way, if you buy one of my escape rooms or the books on how to build escape rooms, you always get these tips and tricks for players. It's just kind of a nice little reminder of what you should go over with them. But for now, I'm just going to go over these really quickly. I tell them, hey, there's scrap paper, so make sure you're recording what you're learning and use that for brainstorming. Think out loud. So as you're solving a problem, if you think out loud, other people will hear you and they might make a connection to something you say, or they might recognize a pattern in your thinking that you haven't yet recognized. Use supportive language and avoid criticizing each other. Going over this with players depends on their background and how much they've worked in teams. And this will apply to children and adults. If they're not used to working on a team, they might make fun of people for weird ideas. They might be mean, you know, when someone gives a strange idea, or if someone has given an idea that the team spent time on, but then the idea was wrong. Sometimes people will be kind of jerks about that. And that is really a bad idea. I mean, that's a bad idea for in general in life. That's just a life skill, but also in escape rooms, because that means that people will begin to shut down. They don't want to be made fun of. They don't want to be called out. And so when they see a pattern, or they have a strange idea, or they're making a weird connection, they don't want to voice that because they don't want to risk being made fun of. It's very important in escape rooms that people feel comfortable sharing weird, bizarre ideas, because that's what it takes to find these patterns and to really flesh out what's going on. People have to feel comfortable really going out there, and they have to feel comfortable being wrong, because they're going to be wrong about 100 times for every one time they're right and solve a puzzle. So there has to be a lot of support for being wrong. And so you want to go over that. If they're not used to working in teams and how that works and how you treat each other, you should spend some time with that. Remind them to look for patterns. You're always looking for patterns. That's what this game is all about, is finding the patterns. Stay calm. It's just an escape room. It's going to be okay. If you don't solve it, it's all right. Stay calm. Don't panic. Just keep trying. That's the key thing here. And don't forget to ask for hints. So if you're getting stumped, ask for hints. And so there you go. Those are some tips and tricks for the game host and the game players. Make sure you check out my online store where I sell several escape rooms that are ready to go. They're pre-made. You just need to print them off and set them up. Some of them are customizable, so you can make it a personalized experience. I also have books that teach you how to make escape rooms for fun, or to make escape rooms for learning opportunities. So these can actually be built as learning activities. Believe it or not, learning can actually be a whole lot of fun. So check out my online store, subscribe to my channel, and like the video, and have a great day.